Now, today, or last night, I should say, the government opened its doors and to hackers.
Well,
knock
yes.
yourself out. Give it your best shot. Well,
hacking has been on the headlines recently, but this is a different kind of hack, I think. Don't be alarmed.
Not quite that bad,
No.
but GovHack, it is Australia's largest open government and open data hackathon, and it's attracting more than 3,000 participants with a prize pool of around $200,000. Now, small teams spend 46 hours using Australian government data to produce any kind of hack.
Well, to explain to us exactly what a hack is, Richard Tubb, the National Director for GovHack, joins us now from Canberra. Good morning to you, Richard.
Good morning.
We come to you this morning after the events got started last night. Of course, some people listening to our conversation this morning might be a little concerned that we are talking about a new front in cyber attacks. That's not what we're talking about here, though, is it?
No, absolutely not. So basically, GovHack is all about creating. So the government produces a lot of open government data every year, and that's freely available for anyone to use. And what GovHack is all about is getting people and government together working using that government data to create things. So it could be called GovCreate, but that's nowhere near as attractive as GovHack.
And it's competitive, so that's certainly one way to get people interested. It's now been running for about 8 years. Can you just describe for us some of the things that people do create when they get together for this?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about GovHack is that it takes people from all backgrounds and all sort of skill levels. So it means they don't have to be hardcore programmers or enthusiasts in open data. They can just be someone coming along. And that also means we get a lot of very different projects that come out of it. A couple of my favourites that have come out recently, there was one that was actually, that could be used for SES, personnel looking for lost children, where it basically created a heat map. It was an app that was created so personnel looking for lost children or lost people could actually use this app, and it would actually create a heat map as to where the search party had been, so people weren't going over in the same spot. So really useful types of projects that can come out of it. Another is the national toilet map. So that was one that came out a few years ago, but also very useful. When you need to go, you do need to go. So that's great to have that around. And also another probably more popular one was the open budget, which allows a graphical representation of exactly where your hard-earned tax dollars go.
Interesting. So a lot of different ideas being thrown around there and tested. So what comes out of these projects? Are these actually ideas, concepts, initiatives that get up and running in the community that we actually can use?
Yeah, absolutely. And for example, those last couple of examples actually are freely available for people to use today, which is fantastic. So often what will happen is that a lot of a lot of the projects that come out of GovHack will actually be taken in onto government departments, and some of the methodologies used to actually create their own products as well. But often what you'll see is that a lot of interested parties would come along and potentially take those projects and sort of see them to the next stage. So, which is exactly what's happened with that open budget example.
So do we see a bit of an intersection, I guess, between the public, between government agencies and corporate institutions as well? Is this the bold new frontier, particularly when we do hear a lot of talk about innovation and jobs of the future? Is this one way that we can see as a successful model for that?
Absolutely, because it really gives people a platform to be able to innovate in a creative way that's actually recognised at this state or territory level, but also at a national and international level as well. And it does get people from obviously citizens. It gets industry involved. It also gets government involved. So it's a big mixing pot, big melting pot of people sort of involved to create new and interesting things out of that. And look, it also looks great in your CV too. So for people who are sort of interested in that sort of space but not quite sure where to go and where to start, forming a team of other sort of like-minded people is a great way to start.
So can you give us any of the inside running on just what's been happening there in the last few hours? I understand that things kicked off at around 6:30 last night in Canberra.
That's right. So this year, GovHack is in 36 locations across Australia and New Zealand. So we had a launch kick-off last night, and then what would happen is that people would start to form teams, and often with people who they've never met. We have different types of categories, so people can look at the skills that they have, and people can see whether they're a coder or a creative or they're just an interesting sort of project manager type person, and they come together and form a team. And then what will happen is they look at all the different award categories we have and challenges available to them, and then they'll look at the open data that is available to match those and start thinking of sort of brainstorming ideas and being able to create new and interesting things from that. So they would have been going through till probably late last night. Some venues are open for the full 46 hours, but some sort of close a bit earlier, encourage people to have a little bit of sleep before they get stuck back into it this morning.
And probably a little bit of trans-Tasman rivalry wouldn't hurt things as well. Richard Tubb with GovHack, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning on Weekend Breakfast.
Thank you.